Recording in progress.
So here we go. Well, welcome to the April webinar for our Vines Film and Media yearly webinar series. So this month we are going to talk about body language, and this is 8 ways to use body language to keep your audience glued to your videos. Let's look at 2 famous quotes. Well, one is more famous than the other, but they do get us into the mindset of what we're going to talk about today. First one by Ralph Waldo Emerson is what you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you're saying. And we've heard that a lot over the years, but it's so true that our actions are who we are, who our being speaks more than our words can ever do. And then also, I like this one a lot. The eyes of people converse as much as their tongues, but the advantage of the ocular dialect needs no dictionary, but it's understood world over. Powerful. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about today. We'll do a little introduction for those of you who may not be familiar with me and my work, and we'll talk about just an overview of body language, then jump into the 8 tips. And there are 8 tips each month. I don't know if any of you recognize that yet. We're on month number 4 with our 8 tip series, and that's to honor the the number of years that Vine's Film has been in business. So this year is our 8th anniversary, actually this month. April 28th, 2014 is when Vine's Film got stood up. Actually, Troop Public Relations is our parent company, and then Vine's Film is our film division that has kind of taken over. But that's why we do the 8 tips every month. And then next we'll move into a Q&A session. And I am very proud to say that we are going to have a special anniversary prize drawing at the end. So please stay on if you can. All right. This is a little bit of my journey, just to take you through quickly about my life. Early on, I had always loved film and movies, and I began to have an emerging interest in videos and cameras as they came about, especially in the late '80s. From the Polaroid cameras to the pocket cameras to camcorders and the like. So those became an interest, and I always wanted and dreamed of making movies, but it just wasn't possible. We didn't have the technology then. So then I moved into and went to college and then got into ROTC and went full time into the military for the next 20 years. So during that time, I was a protocol officer for the U.S. Military District of Washington. So all of those dignitaries coming into the Pentagon and the White House, I was the protocol officer for all that. So it was a very cool job. Then I became strictly a public affairs officer for the latter half of my military career, which involved me being a spokesperson and doing a lot of media training. And then when I retired, I worked as a defense consultant. I became a strategic communications individual. And that was great. It was very interesting, not so interesting because I was really just another military person wearing civilian clothes at that time, and I wasn't able to do what I really wanted to do and branch my wings. So I left that environment, left that good government paycheck, and started my own business in 2014. And we launched Troop Public Relations LLC, and it was a general public relations firm. And then we began to focus in crisis communications, but I wasn't successful in uh, convincing companies that they needed crisis communications. So I take that on myself. I was not successful. And at the same time, I was working on a novel. So I finished the novel, published that book. So it was just all over the place. And you can't be all things to all people. So then in 2017, because I had equipment and I had an eye, I had the creative mindset, we launched the Vines Film Division, which has now become our primary doing business as Vines Film and Media. And in that sense, we create corporate videos, documentaries, short films. We even help people write scripts if they need that. We perform live streaming and aerial video photography sources. But that's pretty much what we do in Vine's film and media. But body language, coincidentally, is s- only makes up of 7% of our verbal communication. So if you had a friend come over to your house and she came bursting through the door and jerked off her coat and threw it in the corner and grabbed one of your glasses and filled it with her with wine and dropped down on the couch and furrowed her brow. And you said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm fine." So, what would you believe? Would you believe the words that she said, "I'm fine," or would you believe her actions? So, her actions and her tone, obviously, you wouldn't believe the words because they're not important. Because what we speak is what is serves volumes to what we actually feel and do and who we are. So it's our body language that really conveys everything. And so, first of all, I just wanted to say that I know that my background, I'll go up here again, my background is in communications. And the information in this website, in this webinar is for people who are making training videos, making information videos, and those people who want to share information about their products and services. So, yes, we are going to talk about having you film yourselves, but we also are going to give you tips that will help you when you are doing Zoom and any other audio video calls, or perhaps filming yourself using a platform like Zoom to record yourself and your messages to convey to your audience. So it does apply to people who want to film themselves with their camera phones or a DSLR camera, a camcorder, or using one of the platforms. But like I said, I am a communications professional, and my background is in media training. I have good insight into all of this, although I am not a proclaimed body language expert. And so I know that we're going to talk about full scale, whether we talk about full scale film products or digital communications. Either way, it's a way for all of you to succeed at having yourselves look better on camera. And so I know that a lot of people may think also, well, body language is pretty common. I know these tips. Maybe what you're about to say, I'll probably already know. They may seem simplistic. However, I just want you to know that these tips that I'm about to give you are not what people do on a common day to day basis. And I just want to show you just a snapshot of a meeting. I'm a member of an organization called Business Networking International, BNI. And this is a snapshot of just a regular meeting that we have. And I don't want to shame anybody in this picture. And you see that I've taken away all of our names, but I just want to give you an idea. And this picture is to dramatize that people do need this information, because when we are on Zoom calls presenting ourselves, there are things that we can do to improve. For instance, you see one, two, three, four, five, six people have their cameras turned off, but yet this is a regular meeting. You have people who are not showing their full selves. They're maybe only showing their eyes or only half of themselves, or here's another half. You have a person who is very, very small in the frame, but just a few people, and this person is distracted looking away. Um, but for the most, and this person is not showing a face at all. So these are just the things that I just wanted to point out, that it's not common, because if it were, that we would all be doing them. But that's why we're here today, to help everybody dive in and do more intentional information about your nonverbals. So, and what I wanted to say on the onset is that we need to be intentional about our nonverbals. Just because we know these 8 tips I'm about to say, I want you to consider using them to speak, because they are another source that you can have in addition to your language, because people only hear about 7% of your language. So be more intentional to convey these body language elements in your communications every day. Okay, the first one is obviously the eyes. Now, our eyes, we've heard, are the windows to our souls. Um, the key is to maintain constant eye contact, whether you're looking into a camera recording a message or whether you're on a Zoom call with other work colleagues or other meeting partners. Definitely keep your eyes glued to the camera. There are times when people have their webcams at different levels. I know my webcam is not at the recommended eye level that I would prescribe. So the book answer is to have your webcam directly eye level to what your to your person. And this conveys confidence when you look directly into the camera, also trustworthiness, and it just gives you a it makes you even feel more confident about yourself if you're looking and giving direct eye contact. Don't look away. Don't read anything else on screen. And the thing is that we think that we may put up another screen while we're on a Zoom call, and people don't know what we're doing, but there is a reflection from the other screens, and people can see the reflection in your eyes. They can also see your eyeballs darting back and forth and know that you're not truly engaged in the meeting. And even when you're filming, when I film clients and they maybe they look away from the camera, I must advise them to look directly into the lens of the camera if they're doing that type of talking directly to their audience. In that way, the audience knows that they're speaking directly to them. So oftentimes people like to look up in the on the to the corner. They put their eyes to the upper right or the upper left, and that conveys that they're thinking. But when we watch them on camera, it just makes us believe that they don't know what they're talking about. They're not truly confident in their message. And the other thing people like to do is, just look away or look down. Other Sometimes when I'm filming, people tend to look at me because I'm always standing on the side of the camera. But I say, oh no, look directly into the camera. I know I've beat that horse to a pulp, but that is the key: direct eye contact. And it's number one for a reason. It's so important to continue to keep looking at your audience so they know that you're talking to them. Okay, the other one is posture. This is so important. Posture it's important to sit straight and lean forward. Now, when you're recording a video, I recommend for my clients to lean forward a little bit. If you're sitting up straight, shoulders back, feet firmly on the floor with your knees and legs perpendicular to the ground, and you lean forward just maybe 5 or 6%, that gives the illusion that you are paying attention, that you're engaged with your intended audience, and that it happens to be like a slimming technique. Because when people are sitting back in their seats, maybe trying to look cool, they think they're looking cool, but they're just, unfortunately, they're looking a little lazy and disengaged. So when people are leaning back, also, it's not a good look for their posture as a whole. Maybe they have their shoulders may slouch when they're in that position, leaning back on the lazy boy, or maybe they're not as, again, slimming. I know it's not everyone's goal to look slimming, but it does look better on camera as a whole if you are sitting up straight, looking into the camera, shoulders squared, feet on the floor, and it does give you the air of more confidence, and you convey confidence as well. Okay, so the third one tip is hand gestures. Hand gestures are important because there is a statistic I read recently that, let me see if I can find it quickly. Of course, I cannot. But when you look at TED Talks, 400, there's a research study on TED Talks that there were like 468 more hand gestures by people who gave TED Talks that went viral than the group of TED Talk people that did not go viral. So hand gestures help you convey a story and keep people engaged, and it helps you tell the story better. It makes you look more alive. And so when I say these hand gestures, the thing about having yourself on camera, and now I'm talking about you giving a presentation on Zoom versus me or someone recording you on camera. So I advise both using hand gestures in both scenarios. But if you're on Zoom, first of all, we recommend that you move your camera, that you sit more, give yourself more distance away from the camera so you have room to convey the upper torso of your body as well as your head. So you have this much space. You're just a little bit below your breastbone, so you convey your upper torso, your neck, and your head, and then you keep your hand gestures within that frame, not extending your gestures beyond the box that is Zoom or the frame of the camera, but just keeping them in that traditional area. And that will have people see that you are engaged, that you know what you're talking about, and it just compels people to watch you if if you have not too many hand gestures, but just enough to convey and articulate those points that you want to make. So hand gestures are very important. And oftentimes when I'm filming people, they say, "What do I do with my hands?" I said, "Well, just to be natural." And most of us are natural when we're trying to convey something or we're just talking and telling a story about what happened to us yesterday at the restaurant. Then, of course, you use your hands. So that being in front of the camera should be no different at all. Continue to use those. Okay, so going to the next tip. This is so simple but so important. Smile. When we are on camera, our presence can be diluted, um, especially when you're on a video call. You think no one's watching, or you think you're hidden, but we need the we need you to smile. We need you to accentuate your gestures, and that includes smiling. So it's much harder to express your attention being on screen if you're not smiling and nodding. So nodding and smiling gives the lets everyone know that you are actively engaged. I know you don't want to appear that, like, I don't want to appear like I'm like a crazy boo boo the fool just sitting there smiling the whole time, but it does make a difference. I know in a lot of meetings that I sit in on, especially on Zoom, uh, when people are not smiling, they do look like they're bored or disengaged or angry. Some people don't naturally have a pleasant resting face. And so that's one reason to smile. And the other reason that I recommend people smile when they're on camera, when I'm filming them, is that it conveys a warmer demeanor. And you hear the smile in your voice as you're talking. And when people are watching this, watching the replay and watching the people watching your video after the fact, after you post it, you want to convey that you are an approachable business, that your message is important, and that they need to listen to you. So and smiling and all that helps. The next one is to frame yourself, and this is so important. Uh, it's important for me as a videographer to frame my subjects. Now, this woman is positioned right center into the frame, and that's traditionally, the best way, is especially if you are on a Zoom call. But for you recording your own videos or recording on any of the platforms, position yourself so that you fill the frame. A lot of people like to be creative and show their background with in it, and so they minimize themselves and increase their background. And I would just recommend that you reverse that, because you are the important aspect of being on camera. So film yourself, use the frame. I know we have the 1/3 elements in on a camera. So this person is dead center, middle frame, and she's, again, as I described, uh, breastbone and up, and where she can um, gesticulate and demonstrate hand gestures in that space. And so that makes for a good looking uh, frame for your presentations or your videos. Okay, this is the big one. I know on Instagram I watch a lot of cat videos where the cat says "no touchy touchy," and I just want you to remember that, keep your hands away from your face when you are on camera. So there's a common perception that people who touch their faces when they're answering questions signal deception. I know a lot of people slide their hands down their face, or, rub their necks, or um, um, rub their nose a lot, rub their eyes, flip their hair. It's all distracting, to say the least. And it's just best to avoid fiddling with your hair or touching your nose and mouth and nose at all costs. So when you're on camera, uh, gesticulate with your hands, but keep them away from your face, because on the bottom line is it does signal um, deception, and you may not intend it to be so, and maybe even our conscious minds don't pick it up, but unconsciously, yes, we do. And this is one, of course, not for a video presentation that not for a presentation that you're filming with your cell phone or a camera, but when you're on a presentation like Google Business or Zoom, any of those platforms. A good technique is to practice mirroring, because it's a powerful tool. And I forget to do this a lot. When you're mirroring someone, that means that you take on the way they speak, you take on the rhythm of their speech, their gestures, their tone of voice, because that makes people feel more comfortable, and it kind of ingratiates them to you, and they're more receptive of your message. So, but that's a technique that you might want to try. I know personally, I always forget to do it, but when I do remember, it has paid dividends for me. And I think this is the last tip of this is number 8 of 8, to declutter your background. I know some of us don't have the ideal spaces for, you may not be able to have your own private office to record your videos. But no matter where you are, whether you are outside or on a clean wall in front of a window, do your best to remove the background from your videos, because a sloppy background, unfortunately, makes you seem disorganized, or that you just don't care about it. And I know there are virtual backgrounds too, but sometimes that makes people think that you're hiding something. So an on-screen experience can be a lot more authentic if you do not use backgrounds, that you declutter the space you're in, and go from there. Okay, so now I am going to um, I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Hmm, let's see. Let me ask you this: as far as posture, one of the things I do is I have a pillow behind me to try to
Yes.
stay, stay up straight. And but I guess if you're doing that, you have to also make sure that it's not visible. If you're recording or what have you, right?
Yes.
So, so do you have any tips or any other tips that, so say for instance, if my pillow didn't work and it was visible in my frame, but I still wanted something or needed something to help me maintain my posture? Do you have any recommendations for that?
I don't think it's a deal breaker for anybody to see the pillow, first of all,
Okay.
because we all do what we need to do to keep ourselves healthy. And if you need the extra lumbar support, that's fine. I don't know if anyone ever sees this, but I always have this behind me, and
Hmm.
that's my um, secret tip for maintaining my posture. And it
Hmm.
gives me the reminder to sit up straight and
Right.
um, you know tuck in my core and shoulders back. But I
Right.
don't think it's a problem
Okay.
if you have a pillow for your posture.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
Even if it's a funky wild color.
As long as it's part of your branding colors, I say go
Okay.
with it.
Yeah.
But if your brand is yellow and you have a um, I don't know, kind of everything goes with yellow. But if you
Yeah.
have a pink a pink background, if it's not in your brand, that may be confusing to people.
Hmm.
But otherwise, I say go with it.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. And so my giveaway today was we were going to do a drawing for the BNI National Conference, which takes place April 28th through the 30th. So, and this is the keynote speaker, Linda Clemens. And I'm so excited because she is a body language expert. And I
Hmm.
know she's phenomenal. If you Google her, you'll see her all over the place. And I purposely did not listen to any of her content because I wanted this presentation to be as authentic to Vine's Film and Media and my experiences as possible. But I am definitely going to seek her out because she's practically synonymous with being a body language expert for business. So she's in that click. Well, what am I saying? She's in that category for business body language. So, but I know a you're already planning to attend. So that's okay. So anyway, our next giveaway, we always have a special offer at the end of every presentation, and that is to offer for the next week. If anyone you or anyone you know, you can share this code. It it can you can send it worldwide. If people call me and mention the code body 2022, then they will automatically get 20% off of any service that Vine's Film and Media provides. And the last thing is this is our contact information. Please take a look at our new website designed by WebFeet Communications. We're very proud. It launched this week and just vinesfilm.com. And also note our new email address. It's video@vinesfilm.com. Definitely give us a call, email, text, set up an appointment to talk to us because we love to talk about all things video. And that wraps up our monthly webinar. We aim for a good 30 minutes and we hit it on the mark. We started at 2:01. We're finishing up at 2:31. And be sure to look for us next month. Next month, our webinar will be always on the second Thursday of every month at 2 p.m. And that is on May 12th. Thank you again for participating or watching the replay.